So without further ado, Rawls defines social justice as fairness. When I first became acquainted with Title IX, it was simply a topic for a paper in my doctoral studies class. Today, after acting as a head coach and raising a 13-year-old African-American female, I now associate Title IX with social injustice. You see, within the last 10 months, I have truly been blessed by the opportunity to be invited to present on one of my favorite groups, Black women, and one of my dearest research topics, Title IX. But as rewarding as these opportunities have been, they've also been traumatic. You see, my daughter Simone, again, is a Black middle school soccer player, which oftentimes means that she is the only Black, or one or two, or three on the field, at games, at practices, at tournaments. She notices, and I know, because she tells me. Sometimes I just shake my head. In 1994, during the 5th Annual Athletes in America Forum at Howard University, Donnie Lopiano declared that race and gender were two separate issues that must be attacked fervently but separately. 14 years later, our Black female student athletes continue to be silenced, face double jeopardy, and remain invisible. Young's view of social justice is an institutional condition that enables participation and overcomes domination. Yet, to be quite honest, when it comes to Title IX and race, this is not the case. The goal of my presentation, in line with the symposium's third goal, which is to address the perceptions and realities of Title IX and women of color. And I hope to do so in the spirit of my new favorite movie, The Great Debaters. I will debate the statement or the proposition. Title IX has achieved social justice, and I will quantitatively and qualitatively argue the negative. Examining the percentages, it is indisputable that Title IX has been successful. Female athletic participation has increased 437%. The participation rates of Black females have increased 955%. However, if we look at horizontal equity, or we compare Black females to white female student athletes, it is crystal clear that social justice has not been achieved. In 2005, 10,913 Black females participated in intercollegiate sports, compared to 49,973 white females. Yet if we narrow the scope by looking at the race and ethnicity and gender report, we see that in 2005, in the 10 NCAA-sponsored prep sports, that 5,762 more white females participated in the sport of soccer than Black females. There were only 47 Black females to participate in intercollegiate Division I lacrosse. And between 1999 and 2005, only 10 additional females, Ms. Steele, participated in intercollegiate golf. These statistics support Schramm's assertion that social justice cannot be legislated by some founding principle of ethic. Therefore, we cannot expect Title IX to work just because we say so. To revisit the definition of social justice, it refers to an institutional condition that enables participation and it overcomes domination and oppression through self-determination and self-achievement. I can distinctly recall my first presentation on Title IX and Black females last year in Cleveland. I was lambasted by a Title IX attorney who declared, Emmett, you cannot promote equality in Title IX because black females only compose a small part of the population at predominantly white colleges. And she was right, despite the fact she interrupted my presentation twice. But in order to achieve social justice or equity, if all things remain constant, it will require 621 additional black female student athletes in the sport of soccer, 321 black females in the sport of volleyball, 498 additional black females in rowing. These numbers aren't daunting, but what is daunting and what is intimidating are the implications. You see, 66% of black female student athletes graduate, compared to 50% of their black non-athlete counterparts. If we look at the 2007 purse for the LPGA Tour, it was $50 million, but only 4 blacks were within sight of cashing in on that money. Or if we look at the WTA, the purse was $40 million. Yet there are only 2 black females with a possibility of cashing in on millions. How am I doing on time? When Dr. Westerhouse and I discussed the needed components for this presentation, Charlotte mentioned that she wanted me to talk about causes, and I inferred that she meant historical causes. But today I would like to talk about some contemporary causes. The two contemporary causes that I would like to briefly talk about include white advocates and black feminists. Since you can probably tell I'm neither one of them, I'm going to tread lightly. White females dominate the demography of Title IX and that which drives its future direction. Kearney says, the disregard has led to a growing tension among African American women who see race as the unwanted stepchild in the fight for equal rights on the playing fields. In 2007, the Stanford University Center for Ethics hosted Title IX Today, Title IX Tomorrow, Gender Equity in College Athletics. And of the 19 featured speakers, 1 was black. Of the topics at the symposium concluded commercialism, faction fiction, as well as evaluating Title IX, meaning none of the topics had anything to do with increasing the participation of black females. But our black feminists, they're also somewhat to blame, because our black adolescents typically engage in daily kinesthetic rituals that prepare them for rigorous physical activities. They learn how to use a trampoline for a mattress. They often engage in running games with boys and sometimes win. Even so, our black females have not helped to transform black females' informal athletic prowess into formal academic opportunities. Needless to say that between white advocates and black feminists, there is ambivalence, there's fear, there's envy, and there are a host of antecedents that need to be resolved before we can truly affirm that Title IX has achieved social justice. Thus, as I get my little punch there on the side, as I close, I've always remembered every presentation that I make, you have to have some constructive resolutions. And I'll quickly go through 3 of them. Develop prep sports academies for black women. A few years ago, the NCAA invested in basketball academies for boys to combat the culture of basketball. Do the same for our black women. Charlotte asked me in terms of research in the grassroots level, what do we know? Not very much. As much as I want to replicate these women here, I cannot do that, but I need to learn how to replicate grassroots efforts. And lastly, social marketing campaigns. Yes, we all know there are 380 NCAA student athletes, and almost all of them will go pro in something other than sports. What is the message that we're going to send to our black women? They should no longer be silenced. I'm sure by now, in closing, that you have realized my goal was not simply to educate, but to motivate. Do not walk out of here today thinking that our work is done. While sports academies for black women may not occur tomorrow, the time for justice is today. Thus, when you return to your universities, seek out those black females. Continue to hold those camps in inner city areas. Motivate them by sending your women of color to speak to women in color in secondary and middle schools. Talk to your conference colleagues about how to collaborate. Because as I said earlier, the time for justice is now. Thank you.
It's getting hot in here.